Cat and the Parrot, the great stories of the world that will be told forever. Madame Théophile was a sandy cat of whom the French writer Théophile Gautier tells this charming story. She had a white chest, a pink nose, and blue eyes. She was called Madame Théophile because she dwelt with me on the most friendliest terms, sleeping at the front of my bed, dreaming on the arm of my chair while I wrote, descending to the garden to follow me in my walks, assisting at my meals, sometimes even intercepting a morsel of food which I might be carrying on my fork to my mouth. One day, a friend of mine who was going away for a few days confided to my care his parrot. The bird, feeling himself transported to a strange land, climbed by means of his beak to the top of his perch, and sat there silent and trembling. Madame Théophile had never seen a parrot, and this creature, so new to her, evidently caused her immense surprise. As motionless as an embalmed cat from Egypt, she regarded the bird with an air of profound meditation, putting together all the notions of natural history which she had been able to gather on the tiles in the courtyard and the garden. The shadow of her thoughts passed across her blinking eyes, and I could read there, quite as well as if she had spoken out with her voice, the summing up of her examination. Decidedly, the strange creature cannot be a green fowl. Arriving at this decision, the cat got down from the table where she had established her observatory, and went and crouched in a corner of the room, stomach on the ground and elbows protruded, the head low, the spring of the spine extended, like a panther watching gazelles quench their thirst at a lake. The parrot followed these movements with a feverish anxiety. He bristled his feathers, rattled his chain, lifted an agitated foot, and sharpened his beak on the edge of his feeding tin. Instinct told him that an enemy was contemplating some kind of wickedness. As for the eyes of the cat, fixed upon the bird with a fascinated intensity, they said in a language which the parrot perfectly well understood, and which had nothing in the least uncertain about it. Although green, the chicken ought to be good eating. I followed the scene with interest, ready to interfere when occasion called. Madame Théophile had drawn nearer to the parrot. Her pink nose quivered. She half closed her eyes, opened and shut her claws. Little thrills ran up and down her spine. Like a greedy man sitting down before a delicious truffled pullet, she delighted herself with the thought of the succulent and rare meal which she was about to make. The foreign dish, so new to her and yet so tempting, tickled her appetite. Suddenly her back bent like a stretched bow, and one elastic jump took her to the foot of the perch. The parrot, realizing his danger, with a voice low and solemn, said suddenly, "Have you breakfasted, James?" This phrase caused the cat an indescribable terror, and she sprang back. A flourish of trumpets, a smash of plates and dishes, a pistol fired at the car could not have given her a more frantic terror. All her ideas of birds were reversed. Her face expressed clearly the staggering thought that had suddenly come to her. "This is not a bird, this is a gentleman. He speaks," one imagined her saying. Then the parrot began to sing, with a great shout in his voice, for he had realized that the fright caused by his speech was his best means of defense. The cat threw toward me a hurried glance of interrogation, and my reply not satisfying her, she buried herself under the bed, from which it was impossible to make her move an inch all the day long. Next day, a little more courageous, Madame Théophile ventured to make another timid attack, but with the same fortune as had met her the last time. From that moment she threw up the sponge, accepted the green bird as a man who must be treated with respect.